Sri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. न भूमिरापो न च वह्निरस्ति न चानिलो मेऽस्ति न चाम्बरं च एवं विदित्वा परमात्मरूपं गुहाशयं निष्कलमद्वितीयं समस्तसाक्षीं सदसद्विहीनं प्रयाति शुद्धं परमात्मरूपम्. तो consciousness is partless, without any part. Now the question is, just a minute. The infinite cannot have parts. If infinite has parts, then it is not infinite. And why it is ultimate Sakshi? Because if it is not, then there may be some philosophical fallacy. Then who witness him or her? If I am not, I as Atma is not the ultimate witness as Chaitanya, then who is the another witness? Okay, another witness may be there. Then who will witness it? There will be the philosophical fallacy. So, and without any parts. So the infinite cannot have parts as it is all pervading, and the limited alone can have parts. That which has parts must necessarily have a form. See, just use our brain. We can part the ice cube, not the water. If we part water, we need to give some formation of the boundary, like water bodies, rivers, ponds, and other things. The part may be water parts, but how it is part? By the solid something else give the boundary. So anything which has part has some form. Okay. Now, that which has and which has form, that is perishable. Clear? The imperishable and the eternal, therefore, must be unconditioned, because in some condition, everything gets perished. Anything else. In physics, we have the theory of friction, that suppose in high speed something is going, And if we don't accelerate it by gati jadya, but by inertia, moment of inertia, it will go, it will go, it will go. But after sometimes, air should be there, the opposite side, and the friction between the wheel and the road, ultimately the car will be stopped. But it has been examined that in a jar where there is no air and on the ice where there is no friction or less friction, for ananta kala, eternally, it can rotate. Clear? Likewise, which is why I am telling. Now, why the car was stopped? It was under a condition that against force should be there or friction should be there. And that is the condition for perishing the speed. So for any perishment, we need some conditions. Atma, which is imperishable, it must be unconditioned. Clear? So this is the logic. Now, that which has parts must necessarily have form, the imperishable and the eternal, therefore must be unconditioned and all pervading. Just think, if it is not all pervading, then it is with form, which is has shape. It can't be all pervading. The ice cube doesn't fit everywhere else. Little subtler than ice cube, water fits everywhere else. Subtler than the water, the air, more pervasive. Then what about the space? Space is everywhere. And according to Vedanta, that space is grosser than Atma also, because space has come out from Atma. So think about the all-pervasiveness of Atma. So all the trying the acharyas are doing to make us understand a thought process, to think about Atma. If there is anything other than that, other than these conditions, what I have told, then it would be limited. Therefore, it must be non-dual, Advaita. So, sometimes we are in dilemma that what is Advaita, what is Advaita, what is Advaita. This is Advaita because that is partless, imperishable, unconditioned, without any form, and all pervasive, without a second. That is Advaita. There is no way to become Advaitam, rather than anything else than Advaita. And we have already described this idea. Say, how yesterday someone asked me that I can understand, but why can't we apply? The reply was that we are not ready mentally. Then she asked me that, Swamiji, please tell me some easiest way. Suddenly I got a call from an unknown number and from USA. I asked her that how have you got my number? She told that I was searching your number for a long time. I don't know, somehow I uh, searched in internet and I got it, but there your number is not there. And I'm so benefited by this, but at the same time I'm telling, every time I could not apply, I want to apply it. How is it possible? And see, in USA, it's very difficult to survive, If we don't earn, it's very difficult. So I am a working woman. At the same time, I want to realize that Advaitic truth. How can I prepare myself? Because I don't have time to do upasana and all those things. I told, do prayer. Then she told, Swamiji, that time also not there. And that mentality also not there that I am praying. I told her that you have a wrong conception about prayer. When you are cooking for your children and husband, put your whole mind and think that you are serving your God. This is a prayer. When someone is crying and you are consoling him or her, hugging him, it's a prayer. When you are giving something else to anyone else with love, compassion, and without any return, it's a prayer. Prayer always not in the form of you have to sit or you have to fold your hand, there should be a nice room, nice fragrance. Even we can pray in different format, different mode, while walking, while traveling, while working in the office, when cooking. So prayer should be 24/7, even at the time of sleeping also. If you think this is, I'm going to meditate, Matri Rupi Dhyanam, this is also prayer. So in that way, our mind becomes ready. And why I'm telling, I made myself in that way by the grace of Guru. So you also can do that. Now the thing is, we have already described the idea of Samasta Sakshi, that the self, the infinite, even when it is recognized in our delusion to be acting, feeling, or thinking, never in fact gets involved in these activities of the equipments, which is called Prakriti, but ever stands apart as a disinterested observer, lending its grace equally to all at all times. Clear? Beyond, now, if we little bit discuss about Sad Asad Vihinam, these two are intellectual estimations. Yesterday we discussed. The consciousness that illumines the judgments of the intellect must be something other than the very judgments themselves. the ideas of existence and non-existence can describe or define the world of things in the relative field. But these terms cannot define truth, since it is the very knowing principle with which we know all our experiences in the relative field, everything perceived, felt, smelled, known in the empirical fields of the life can fall under these two categories as existence and non-existence. But the consciousness that illumines them is constantly beyond them. Because for me, existence and non-existence means present or absent. We common people can't understand the depth of this word existence, Sat. Whether Mr. X or something else is present means exist in that known form or absent. But Chaitanya is beyond that, because Chaitanya illumines their presence and their absence. Clear? Now, hence the infinite is defined in the Upanishad. That is why in this Upanishad it is told Sadasad Vihinam. This great, like Paramatma, without parts, non-dual, witness of all, and beyond all intellectual concepts of existence and non-existence, is a truth, no doubt, and it is really worth realizing. Clear? But where can it be realized? It is so all-pervading and seems to be transcend everything known that it eludes our comprehensions, and it seems that it has no abode of its own. Now, some question came that what is Guhashayam in Kathopanishad? It is there, Angushtamatra Purushaha in other Upanishad also, Hridaya Guhayam. So just as the government of a country is throughout the country, the government of a country means throughout the country, and yet in order to contact the government, we have to make a pilgrimage towards its capital, which is the seat of the government. So too, likewise, the all-pervading, omnipresent self or Atma can be contacted in its seat divine in the very heart of the seeker. Clear? Here, the terminology heart is not the physiological heart, I told you. Here it means only the core of the personality in the very seeker. Heart stands for the human virtues in man. One who develops and cultivates love, kindness, sympathy, charity, cheerfulness, peace, joy, tranquility, and so on, is developing his heart. Like you know, you are older than me, but I don't know, you are all maximum of city dweller, you know. Kolkata's culture and everything was different than the rural or suburb. So in the suburban area, almost every day, really Atithi used to come. Because we did not call them or invite them, but they have come. Or sometimes we don't know them. So it was, I have seen at our home, always extra food was cooked. In my childhood, I have seen, though on that time, this much of inflation was not there and everything, maybe. But the mentality was something different, you know. So that kindness and everything else, now people don't entertain also. Even if it is raining, they don't allow to stand other people to stand under their shade also in Kolkata. I have noticed. Whatever. But what is the theme I'm telling? I just wanted to make you understand that one who develops and cultivates love, kindness, sympathy, charity, cheerfulness, peace, joy, tranquility, and so on is developing his heart. Now, decision is yours. In such a harmonized bosom, protected well from the wild storms of passion, is the altar where truth can be realized in the very temple of this body. In Kathopanishad, this thing is there. Tam Durdarsham Gudham Anupravishtam Guhatitam. So realizing this great truth, one attains Prayati, the experience of pure state of Paramatmahu. That is Shuddham, Nishkalam, Niranjanam, this state. So that is Paramatma Rupa. One attaining the Paramatma is something like the dreamer attaining the wakerhood. The dreamer attaining the wakerhood. with this joyous assertion, assuring a saint person's success of all true and serious seekers who Upanishad itself. Upanishad is promising, and Upanishad means Satyam, truth alone. So, if we can't attain, it's our issues that should be sorted out. But Upanishad is promising us it is possible, possible, and possible. Hari Om Tat Sat.